Please join me in praying your faith as I pray in mine. Heavenly Father, we come together today in Rochelle with humble hearts, united for a sacred purpose, and that is to protect and uplift our children and our community. We ask that you lift up every child who has suffered from abuse or neglect. Surround them with your love, bringing them healing and restore their sense of safety and hope. Lord, strengthen those who stand in their defense, especially advocates of CASA and Shining Star and all folks that work tirelessly to give our children a voice. And Lord, guide us as leaders and neighbors to remain vigilant, compassionate, and committed to creating a safe, nurturing environment for every child. Let this gathering be a reminder of our responsibility and our resolve. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome everybody. Thank you for attending the Hands Around the City. This is our first event in Ogle County. We've done it 3 years in Lee County, but this is the first year we've done it in Ogle. So thank you for being here with us today and joining us. My name is Jessica Cash. I'm the Executive Director at Shining Star Children's Advocacy Center. At Shining Star, we serve children and families in Ogle and Lee counties. Let that guy go by. Who have been impacted by abuse. We provide a safe, child-friendly environment where kids can share their stories through forensic interviews, receive trauma-informed counseling, and be supported through our family advocate every step of the way, at no cost to the families we serve. Our goal is simple but powerful, to walk alongside children and their caregivers from hurt to healing. Each year, Shining Star serves over 200 new children from Ogle and Lee counties, with about half of those children coming from right here in Ogle County. These are not numbers, they're children in our schools, our churches, our neighborhood, and our community who need support, safety, and someone to believe them. Shining Star is committed to helping children and families in Ogle County and will be opening a satellite office in Oregon late summer of this year. This will better serve children and families from Ogle County by helping reduce barriers of travel and transportation in order for children to receive consistent services. Thank you everyone for being here today at Hands Around the City in Rochelle. Seeing the community come together for one purpose, to protect children, means more than words can fully express. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the staff at Shining Star. Today it's Tracy and myself. We have 2 people missing today. Every day they show up with compassion, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to children and families in our community. Their work isn't easy, but it's essential, and our community is stronger because of them. We often hear, I could never do the job you do, or how do you do this job? And it truly is an honor to be able to sit with kids who have experienced hard things, listen to their stories, and watch their healing journey. Today is about awareness, but more importantly, it's about action. Each of us standing here plays a role in protecting kids. The responsibility to keep kids safe does not fall solely on DCFS or law enforcement or social service agencies. It belongs to every single one of us. We can all make a difference. We can support families who may be struggling. Sometimes a small act of kindness or understanding can change the course of a child's life. We can talk to the children in our lives about body safety, helping them understand what is okay, what is not, and who they can go to if something doesn't feel safe or comfortable. We can listen, believe, and take action for children. It's also important that we recognize the signs of abuse. These can include unexplained bruises or injuries, sudden changes in behavior, fear of going home or being around certain individuals, age-inappropriate sexual knowledge, withdrawal, anxiety, or regression to younger behaviors. Sometimes the signs are subtle, but something doesn't feel right, trust their instinct. And when you see something or suspect something, say something, report it. Every single person here has the ability to make a report. You do not need proof, you just need the reasonable suspicion. In Illinois, you can report child abuse by calling the Child Abuse Hotline, 1-800-25-ABUSE, or by contacting local law enforcement. Your call could be the moment that changes a child's life. Today, your presence here matters. By showing up, you're sending a powerful message to the children that they matter, their safety matters, and that this community stands together to protect them. As we join here today, let it be more than a symbol. Let it be a commitment to stay aware, to stay involved, and to take action when it's needed. Together, we can create a community where every child feels safe, supported, and heard. Thank you for being here and standing up for children. Today, you'll hear from 2 great speakers. One, a community leader with a commitment to families and children in the community he serves, Mayor John Bearrows. You'll also hear from a survivor of childhood abuse, someone who has overcome the adverse experience of his childhood, Patrick James. We thank both of them for joining us today to share their powerful message. Next, I'd like to introduce Trish Howard from CASA of the 15th District.
Thank you, Jessica, and thank you everyone for attending here today. I will start out by introducing my staff that's here. I have Vicki Farbo from the Ogle County Supervisor's position and Trish Patterson from the Lee County Advocate position. And then I do have a board member in attendance, Aaron Mudge. He is our Ogle County liaison from the board. So thank you very much for the work that you guys all do for our program. I'm going to say a few words about what CASA does, and then I will turn it over and I'll come back and give you some closing remarks. CASA 15th Judicial Circuit recruits, screens, trains, supports, and assigns a volunteer from the community to speak for the best interest of an abused or neglected child in our system. We cover Ogle, Lee, Carroll, Stevenson, and Joe Davies counties. We are appointed as the guardian ad litem for the child. As a direct party to the case, CASA volunteers assess the child's situation, gather information from all possible sources, and submit findings and recommendations to the judge in a factual, non-biased court report to ensure the best interest of these abused and/or neglected children are served. Assigned to one case at a time, CASA volunteers often bring valuable information to the case that otherwise might not be heard. As the eyes and ears for the judge, CASA volunteers monitor parent progress and the child's needs to make sure that they are safe and to make sure that their physical, psychological, and educational needs are met. CASA volunteers report on the consistency between court orders and the actual experiences of the child and the parents. Our volunteers seek to shorten the time the child is in the system and ensure permanency for that child in a safe, loving home. I do want to take a second and let you know that our Ogle County branch of our program will be celebrating 20 years this year. We started in 2006 here in Ogle County, so I definitely think that that's something proud of us. Our volunteers are the heart of our program. We always have a need to recruit volunteers. If anybody would like more information about CASA, you can find that on our website, www.casa15thdistrict.org, or you can follow us on Facebook, CASA 15th District. As I said, we always have an ongoing need for volunteers. I'm going to turn it over to Mayor John Bearrows for his words, and I will talk to you in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we get started, I want to make a couple introductions as well. Many times the success of CASA or Shining Star does depend on the people on the streets, but there's another part that supports that, and that's the financial. So I'd like to introduce, we have a representative from Congressman LaHood's office. Laura's here representing him, who is an extremely strong advocate for our community, as well as Brad Fritz's representative is here, our state representative. We appreciate that. They both do a lot of work here locally in a lot of ways, and we appreciate that. Once again, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here today as we gather to recognize Child Abuse Prevention Month. This month is more than just a date on the calendar. It's a call to awareness, to action, and to responsibility. It's time when we come together as a community to say clearly and without hesitation, every child deserves to be safe, supported, and loved. Across our nation, organizations like Shining Star and CASA work tirelessly to protect children and strengthen families. Their mission reminds us that preventing abuse is not just the responsibility of one person or one agency, it's the responsibility of us all. Child abuse is not always visible, does not always leave bruises that we can see. Sometimes it hides behind closed doors. Sometimes it hides behind silence, behind fear, or behind misunderstanding. It can take many forms: physical, emotional, sexual abuse, and neglect, but its impact is always profound. The effects can ripple through a lifetime for a child, shaping that child's sense of safety, trust, and self-worth. But today is not only about acknowledging a painful reality, it's about hope, because we know something powerful. Child abuse is preventable. Prevention begins with awareness. It begins when we educate ourselves about the signs, when we learn and we listen, really listen to children. When we create environments where children feel safe about speaking up and where adults are prepared to respond with care and action. Prevention continues with support. Families face many challenges: financial stress, mental health struggles, substance use, social isolation. When families are overwhelmed and unsupported, the risk to children increases. When communities step in with resources, compassion, and practical help, we reduce that risk. Strong families build strong children. Prevention thrives in connection. A teacher who notices change in behavior, as we heard earlier. Perhaps it's a neighbor who just checks in, a coach who builds trust with a student, a relative who offers help instead of judgment, a friend who chooses to speak up. Every one of us has a role to play. We must create communities where asking for help is seen as strength, not weakness, where parents have access to education and resource, where children know that they matter, where mandated reporters understand their responsibility, and where community members know how to report concerns safely and appropriately. According to child advocacy organizations across the country, millions of reports of suspected abuse are made each year. Behind each report is a child, a real child, who needs someone to notice, someone to care, and someone to act. And here's the truth: one caring adult can change the entire trajectory of a child's life. Just one. When we mentor or when we volunteer, when we support local child advocacy centers, when we advocate for the policies that protect children, when we educate ourselves and others, when we refuse to look the other way, we send a powerful message. Children are not invisible. Child Abuse Prevention Month is often symbolized by the blue ribbon, a reminder of the bruises some children carry and the hope that we can create a brighter, safer future. But let that blue also represent our commitment, our vigilance, and our promise to those children in need. Let it remind us that prevention is not reactive, it's being proactive. It's about building protective factors around the families. Parental resilience, social connections, knowledge of parenting and child development, concrete support in times of need, social and emotional competence of the children. When these strengths are present, families are more stable, children are safer. Today, as we open up this awareness, let us also open up our hearts. Let us choose to be the adults that children can trust. Let us choose to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. Let us choose to build systems that prioritize child safety. Let us choose to replace silence with courage, because children do not choose the environments they're born into. They don't choose the adults that they're in their lives, but we choose how we show up for them. Imagine a community where every child grows up knowing that they're valued. Imagine schools where every child feels safe. Imagine neighborhoods where families are supported and not judged. Imagine a future where prevention is so strong that awareness must become celebrations of success rather than reminders of crisis. That future begins with us. So during Child Abuse Prevention Month, I challenge each one of you: learn the signs, Have those hard conversations. Support a family in need. Volunteer your time. Donate if you're able. And advocate for child-focused policies. And most importantly, be present. Because prevention is not a one-time event. It's a daily commitment. Together, we can build a culture where children are protected, where families are strengthened, and where hope outweighs the harm. Let this month not just raise awareness, let it raise action. Every child deserves a safe childhood. Every child deserves dignity. Every child deserves love. And every child deserves us. I want to thank you for today. I also want to, and I totally apologize, I had another introduction I wanted to make. I'd like to thank our city council member, Bill Hayes, for being here today. Bill has been on the council, also helped with programs that support what we're talking about today. So thank you, Bill, for being here. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
All right, our next speaker is Patrick James.
I can safely say good afternoon. All right, so I'm gonna loosen us up here a little bit. I speak for a living here and there, and I know when you're talking about a heavy topic like this, and it's gonna get heavy, just prepare yourself, all right? But I'm gonna try to break the ice here a little bit. So I hail over by the mighty Rock River over there. We're in a little bit of a flood stage, so I'm gonna open with a dad joke, right? I always start with a dad joke. So what did the fish say when he hit the wall? Anybody know? Damn. All right, so just trying to loosen you up here a little bit because it's going to get a little heavy. All right, how I'm going to start here. I am a resident of Ogle County. I was gone for about 25 years with my career, but I grew up in Ogle County, and you'll start to get the pieces of that as I read through I'm just going to kind of walk through and paraphrase a national article in a national publication. This was about 20 years ago that this was written, but I think the reporter did a really good job of capturing this situation. So bear with me as I read through this, and you'll see the pieces start to come together. So a convicted child molester who bounced through teaching jobs in Northern Illinois before opening an alternative healing center in Elgin was convicted Friday in the sexual abuse of a Michigan teen. This is up in Michigan. He was the founder of the Inner Journey Institute for Healing and Arts in Elgin, and a former school teacher in Woodstock and Ogle County. The defendant was convicted of second-degree criminal sexual conduct for making the 14-year-old Jackson boy, Jackson, Michigan, touch him under the guise of spiritual healing. The defendant's attorney said, "I don't think the jury could appreciate what this was about. This is a conservative Midwestern community, similar to ours, and I just don't think they understood what the defendant was trying to do for this child." The defendant faces 5 to 22 and a half years in prison, and his sentence will take into account his previous conviction in Illinois. In 1977, the defendant was a 5th grade teacher at Monroe Center School in Ogle County near Rockford. He was convicted of molesting an 11-year-old male pupil and was sentenced to 5 years of probation. The emotionally charged trial mesmerized this working class community up in outside of Ann Arbor, Michigan, Jackson, Michigan. The courtroom debate between the defending attorney and the Jackson County prosecutor was turbulent at times, occasionally forcing the judge to admonish them. The judge said, "This is the only second time in my entire career that I had to actually use my gavel." So it was a pretty heated trial. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, and when the verdict was read, the Michigan State trooper who investigated the case put his head in his hands and wept. The Jackson County prosecutor, fiery throughout the entire trial, rushed from the courtroom in tears. Interviewed outside, she said it was very, very important to get that man off the streets and away from kids, said the mother of 2 teenagers. It was clear he would offend other kids, and I saw the pain he ravaged amongst the victims. The Ogle County victim, at this time of this article and the trial, now 31-year-old man, gave detailed testimony about his former teacher. The man said the defendant gained his trust, that raped him over and over. But the most emotional testimony came from the Jackson, Michigan boy. During most of his time in the witness stand, he sobbed. And he said, "I don't necessarily hate him, but I just think he's really sick." Now, in a courthouse hallway after the verdict, the boy said that he trusted the defendant, mostly because through a self-proclaimed psychic that he claimed he was, and had brought him a comforting message from his friend who had died in a car crash. So, a little heavy, sorry. But that's what the reporter wrote. By now, you probably figured out I was that 11-year-old boy that was here in Monroe Center growing up. At the time of this trial, I was 30 years old, raising 2 children in my career in Phoenix, Arizona, when I got contacted by the Jackson County prosecutor asking would I fly to Jackson, Michigan and testify. And you can bet I did. So it was a sad experience, but an empowering experience for me if you think back to that 5 years of probation, which wasn't even completely served. So I think what's important to note here as you think about young people who get into these situations, and I've been asked a number of times from folks, how did you get into that? Why did it take such a long time before you reported it? All these things. There's really 2 things that happen. One, you have people that are in what you think as a child is a position of authority, okay? And you believe that as a teacher or whatever it might be. And then you also heard the word trust a number of times, right? Even for the 14-year-old boy, and even for me as an 11-year-old boy back at that time. So I think a lot of what the mayor said today was spot on in terms of, being aware, listening to what our children are saying is absolutely critical. Now, here's where I segue kind of back into what these great folks do. I am a founding board member of the Valley Children's Advocacy Center in Virginia, because I spent about 10 years of my career there, and we stood up one of the CACs there. Obviously, I've tried to give back because I've been very fortunate in my life to have great people surround me and help me through all that I went through as a youngster. And then I moved here and didn't know we even had a CAC here, right? Saw it on Facebook as it was noted that there was a victim that was going to be interviewed and treated at the CAC, and the light bulb went off again, and I said, it's time for me to get back involved. So I am now a board member, thanks to Jessica, of the CAC for Lee and Ogle County. But I can't tell you, thank you, I can't tell you how important it is to have these type of services available. I didn't have that. All right, I've explained this to folks over at Shining Star, and I said that, back in my day, I was in a dark, cold, I think it was the old Ogle County Courthouse. I don't think I got a new one now, right? And being interviewed literally by what do we call them here? State's attorney, or I think whatever their prosecutor is here. And it was a little bit of disbelief, that this actually happened in a community like this. And I felt a little bit like I was on trial at times. I remember as an 11-year-old boy, and then the person who perpetrated. And you can see how soft what they ended up getting for the whole deal. Very clear that they just wanted it to go away, right? And they just kind of wanted to ignore it. Fortunately, I had just a great family around me. I think we live in a great community, and people supported me 100%. And clearly, I'm a result of a very profitable, very strong career. I have 3 grown children who live all over the country now, who have great careers, have been very successful in what they've done. And I think that I'm a testimony that kids can make it through, although I think I'm really lucky, right? Because I didn't have the forensic interview, I didn't have the victim advocacy, and all the things that happen and the services provide here. So this is why these services are so special to me, because if I would have had that, I think I could have thrived a lot faster than what I did. And I worry about those children that don't have access to those services, because we've heard all the stories that this type of abuse early in life can just carry forward, and they can have a lot of trouble later on. So it's kind of my story. I did want to read a quote here. There's a gal by the name of Jenna Quinn, and I see her. I'm a big social media junkie, at least on LinkedIn, because of the business and my career that I have. And she quoted the other day, she speaks to child advocacy centers and causes all the time, and she is also a victim. And I love what she said here. So, you just got to pirate a good idea, right? Instead of come up with your own. She said, to silence a voice is to diminish something sacred. Every person we encounter carries an inherent dignity because they are made in the image of God. Their voice is not optional. It really matters. In our work, whether law enforcement, healthcare, educators, advocacy, or the courts, we are often the difference between someone being heard or overlooked. Speak up. Protect the dignity in front of you and advocate with courage. So thank you for hearing my story. I hope that makes you look at these things a little bit differently going down the road, and God bless you all.
If you would be so kind to maybe give one more round of applause for him sharing his courageous story with us. We really appreciate that. Thank you. These events serve to raise awareness, honor survivors, and unite communities in efforts to prevent child abuse through education, advocacy, and family support. As we reflect in this month of awareness, let's remember that our work does not end here. Every child deserves to grow up feeling safe, valued, and loved. Each of us has the power to help make that a reality. Whether by speaking up, supporting a family in need, or simply choosing compassion over silence, we can all be part of that change. Let's carry this commitment beyond April and continue working together to build a world where every child's voice is heard and their future is protected. The pinwheels that you have represents happy, healthy, and carefree childhoods that all children deserve. Unlike symbols tied to pain or tragedy, it conveys hope, resilience, and the promise of a safer future for every child. Its bright color and spinning blade evokes a childlike lightheartedness, reflecting the vision of a world where children can grow up in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. Please take a pinwheel with you today and let it serve as a reminder of a child in your life that you could help protect and the children in our community that you can look out for. On behalf of Shining Star Children's Advocacy Center, CASA of the 15th Judicial Circuit, I would once again like to thank Mayor Bearrows and Patrick Janes and all of you for attending. If you would like to stick around, we'd really like to get a picture of everybody with your pinwheels, maybe around the flagpole. We would really appreciate that. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.